Now. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another podcast from the DrayMen. Hello, Governor.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you over there, referee?
Yeah, not bad. Same old, same old. I'm sporting my Seawolves t-shirt because they won in the rugby this weekend. I like your what do you call it? Check or they call it flannel over here.
Oh, do they? Yeah, it's just a normal. Well, looks like a old picnic cloth, doesn't it?
It does.
One of
Oh,
my old tops from lumber, from my lumber days.
gingham, is that what it's called? Or gangham?
No, gingham's tighter, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, I would like to introduce everybody, and if you're listening to this, behind me is one of the most beautiful flags you'll ever see in your life. This bar is open. Massive, great big pint on it with a lovely foamy head. That is to celebrate the opening of pub gardens in the UK this week. Monday, they were allowed to open the gardens to the pubs, not actually inside the pubs. And I went to a little pub garden this afternoon and had my first pint out since November. And it was a lovely, lovely thing.
I saw that. I saw you posted it. And were you alone at the pub garden or did you have
No,
company?
no. It was my day off today. I have Tuesdays off, and
Oh, nice.
family's off because it's Easter for the kids over here. So we'd been to the beach most of the morning. We're up in the dunes and stopped in a pub on the way home and managed to sneak in one of the outdoor tables. Because at the moment, a lot of them, because there's not much space in some of these gardens, you have to pre-book. But luckily, they sneaked us in. They know us, and we managed to have a nice drink in the afternoon, which was lovely.
Oh, that's wonderful. And it was busy, I guess. It was
Yeah, all the
busy.
tables were full. A couple of reserved ones for people coming later, but yeah, it was busy, and it was a lovely thing. The weather's been dry, not too warm, but it was just nice to see people out enjoying themselves, having a drink. So
That's great news, isn't it? Especially for the pubs. You know, they've been struggling, I'm sure.
yeah, well,
So,
I've got it's me this week. I'm happy one way about it, and I'm a bit sad the other, but that might turn up in a dreg a bit later on if you.
okay, we'll look out for that one. But I suppose we should get some news going.
Well, hang on, I'm going to stop you there. I'm going
Okay, yeah,
to.
yeah, absolutely.
I've got some housekeeping before we start the show. I've got some housekeeping to mop up.
Okay, okie dokie. That's
Completely up. This is completely down to me and how
okay.
unprofessional I was, and I've been called out by a listener, a Dray Barrel, who sent me a lovely direct message on the Facebooks, and
Mm.
I'll read it to you if you like.
Yeah, no, I'm curious. I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah, well, it was a direct message to my private account,
Okay.
but it's to do with us. So let's have a little
Mm.
look at it.
We always like feedback.
And they're quite right.
Okay.
So this is from a guy called Philip Evans, who's put underneath AKA Man Mountain, or whatever that means,
Oh, good
um,
gosh.
from the Snowdonia region of Wales. Um, Avid listener, um, but he has a bone to pick with me, the governor.
Oh,
So
wow.
when I read this, I thought, oh, right, here we go. Here's some hate coming our way. But no, he's pointed out that a couple of podcasts ago, I promised to find out about the most popular beers in the UK since you done a little top 10 over in America of the top selling breweries.
Yes, two
And I said,
podcasts.
oh, and I did listen back. I said, I'll endeavor to find out, the top selling ones over here. Well, I've done that for you, Philip, and hopefully that's okay with you. He's also put on here, excuse me one moment. He loves the yin and yang element of the show and sees it as a property worth investing in, whatever that
Oh,
is.
he's
But
in he's in houses, is
I
he?
have no idea. It's a bit odd, and he put, but continuity is key, gentlemen.
Yeah.
He has distant family in Canada, the Wildens, and they are based in Red Deer County, Alberta, which I think Red Deer is a town and also a county somewhere in there. And he's described Canada, being a British person himself, he's described Canada as a posh USA. So
Oh, okay.
I think he's got a bit of a,
He's
I don't
got
know.
maybe
He's
a
got a
chip on his shoulder.
few strong opinions, but anyway,
Yeah.
Philip, but they love and listen to the show, and his family over there, these Wildens, they recommend any beer from Sawback Brewing Company, which is in Red Deer City or Red Deer Town. So maybe that's one for us in the future to look at.
I'll,
At the end, he's put, "Keep up the good work, keep up the good work, chaps." So
okay.
not insulting, but he's called
Oh,
me out. So I've had a little look around now. 2020 was a washout year over here, so I've gone back to 29. Sorry, no, I haven't. I've gone into the craft side of things a little bit more.
okay. So not the bigger commercial beers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I've gone
Okay.
on price. So I've gone on who was the biggest seller
Right.
craft beer side, and with 40 million pounds made, it was Camden Hell's Lager in number one. Number two was the Brewdog Boys with their Punk IPA, which was 36.1 million pounds.
Oh, brilliant. That's
Then
good
another
news.
Camden Pale Ale, and then number four was a Marston Shipyard. So that's the top four selling ones over here. Obviously, you've got the big companies like Budweiser, Carling, and things like that. But I
Yeah.
wanted a bit more of a local feel. So
Yeah.
hopefully, Philip, Mr. Man Mountain, that's
I'm sure he likes an ale or
that.
two.
And for your guys, the Wildens over in Red Deer County, Alberta, we look forward to having a look at this little Sawback Brewing Company. I think I'll try and see if I can get any over here.
Well, yeah, I've never heard of that, so I need to look it up. It may be easier for me to find here, but then again, I don't know. You seem to be.
Well, I'm a bit surprised. It's, the thing that got me about it is I know there's a little bit of a divide. Obviously, you're separate countries, Canada and the USA, but I've
Yeah,
never heard anyone refer to Canada as the posh USA.
I
I
think
mean,
he's got
maybe
a rather large chip on his shoulder there,
I think
maybe.
maybe Philip is just winding us up because that's come from him. That isn't from his family over there or whoever they are.
No, these Wildens, yeah. So maybe it's his attitude. I'm sure that
Yeah,
it's not the
maybe he's
same.
a bit of a trickster or something, getting his own back.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
imagine him with big fat fingers with loads of gold on and a couple of gold teeth just rattling away.
Enjoying a
Anyway,
pint or
Philip,
two.
I'm not insulting you, please don't think, and I hope you enjoy the shout out, but you're quite
Hey,
right to call me out. So,
we appreciate all this feedback. I mean, we're getting a lot of it recently, with that one from Ireland, which I didn't like particularly. I thought they were a little bit nasty in a way.
yeah, that was
And
more pointed at you than this one. This one was
yeah, but it
friendly
was
little jab. I
harsher,
don't mind a friendly jab, but yeah, that was a
bit
bit more.
harsher. But and then obviously Mr. Alex, well, that was actually directed at him actually down in Houston, Mr.
Oh,
A. Yeah.
well, I can't call him an idiot because he listens, but
No, he's a loyal Dre
the
barrel.
chap that drinks Guinness straight from the can.
He prefers it
Yes,
that way. He's
Mr.
still
A.
around.
I'm just going to refer to him as Mr. A. I think we'll
Yeah,
leave it.
yeah. If you're
But
listening,
yes,
Mr. A.
I'm sorry, I've gone off the rails and I didn't even give you a warning, ref. So,
No, that's all right. Do we have any time for a brief news now or not?
oh, go on then. I'm
Well,
sorry.
it'll have to be quick because we're thirsty.
Yeah.
So, the
I've
usual.
got some beer news for you.
Yeah, sorry, Terry. I was a bit behind. That's his voice.
Oh,
He chips in. Well, he did chip in, and I recorded it. To
it'd
be
be
fair.
after royalties if you keep using it. Maybe
Well,
we
I
should.
know. Yeah, I need to copyright that. Well, I keep saying his name. So anyway, go green. Spring is here. This is the news.
Oh,
Craft beer brewers celebrate once a year fresh hop event, and so this is actually coming from and we've got a friend down there, as you know, New Zealand. So this is
oh,
news from New Zealand.
oh, news from down under.
Down under. I can't do the accent. but I'll read the story. There aren't many drinks that start with a dawn dash to the airport, but Green Hops craft beers do. Using fresh hops is a race against time for Kiwi craft brewers keen to take part in the once-a-year opportunity. They only have 24 to 48-hour window to capture the little green flowers, unique aromatic flavors once harvested on this particular hop, this
Oh, wow.
green hop. Yeah, to capture it. So the clock is already ticking when they picked it in the Tasman area in the wee small hours. They'll only be good for a few hours more, so it's on to the first flights, and it's Wellington to Auckland,
Right.
if you're in that area.
Yeah, well, he lives the pony lives in Auckland. He lives just on the outskirts of Auckland.
Oh, so he'd be close.
Yeah.
He'd be close to this hop harvest then. Um, so it's in a van, and the quickest route to the brewer's boiling kettles, basically. So it's like I say, it's 24 to 48 hours, and you need to get
Oh,
in.
like a little gold rush for hops.
It's crazy, right? I've never heard of that before, but I guess this particular green hop is pretty special. It says, we had them pretty much from the field to the beer in 24 hours, says Epic Brewery founder Luke Nichols. So that's the brewery that plays it big on these. So it's just it makes a fresh, vibrant IPA with spicy floral notes. So
Oh, that's very interesting. I have to have a look at that.
yeah, so I thought it was just a little bit interesting and a little bit fun. So can you imagine them just racing down
I wonder if there's any punch ups when they get to the last few. I mean, I know when a few of my mates used to go hopping down in Kent, Chaz and Dave.
Oh
that,
yeah.
that they had a few tales from down there, hopping down in Kent.
Ooh, what?
She never went hopping down in Kent with an EIO, a TIO, a TIOAA. But I'm not quite sure what he meant by that.
So were there fisticuffs under the hop bees under the hop vines?
They used to wash their clothes in the hopping pot on a Sunday and dry them on the green. But he was an older chap, so things have changed, no doubt. I'm not quite sure you're allowed to wash your clothes in the old hopping pot anymore.
It's a different world, isn't it? Especially when it comes to brewing, I'm sure.
Although I suppose you could make some funky IPA out of it.
Oh yeah, there you go. There's a recipe.
A bit of Gertrude, something like that.
Good, son. Oh, down near Margate. Yeah, there we go.
Right, so I'm going to show you what I've got for this week.
Yes, please.
Lovely can.
Yeah.
I have got for you, hold it up now, Steam Brew.
Ooh, it's got is that a lovely lady on the front again?
Yes, that's the lovely lady, pale ale, and it is this particular can. You can't quite see it there, but she's called the Sister. Now that will become apparent a bit later on when I give you a bit of a lowdown on it. So their little thing is let's oil the gears of life. That's their little saying. And this is a German brew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's a session IPA, a bit more funky. So I'll get me pour on and then I'll let you open yours. So.
Well, no, let's get a bit of a hint of this. What it is. What's your glass today? Is it a nice clear glass?
I've gone for that straight one again. You see, I've gone for the straight one. Just so
and that's a full pint?
Not quite.
That's very clear in the pour.
I've got to grab it. Oh, I didn't have to. I didn't spill a drop.
Oh, brilliant.
Barman's elbow helped out there, you see.
Those pours are getting better.
Oh, look at that. Stick a flaking top of that, lad. Now, look at that. What a lovely looking little pint that is.
That's beautiful. It's pretty clear, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty floral.
And that's, did you say it's a German brewery?
German brewery. I'll get to them in a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not that punchy. It's fruity there, you know, the tropical flavours you'd expect from an IPA. But yeah, it's It's all right so far. So,
Oh, nice.
what have you got to offer us this week then?
Me, I've got another collaboration again by Untitled Art, and it's untitled. I always do these collaborations, and Finn back, and it is joining you today with an IPA, oat cream IPA.
Oh,
So it's just it's version 2. I guess there's a couple of versions.
no shit.
Napa with Citra, Mosaic, Wahiti, and Galaxy hops. Okay, I'll just pour it then. So it's very hoppy then, I guess.
This is very
Gassy?
yeah.
No, it's just does it taste fresh? This is very.
Yeah, it tastes fresh. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Oh, full shout out to Travis because he got me this. My beer guy. I forgot to say.
Your special beer man in the back alleys.
He pulls the strings a little bit on the
When
DrayMens.
you were out, did he just walk past you and just place a can down and keep walking, a bit like an old spy or something like that?
And I just see his shadow just slinking off behind the block.
Yeah, you look up, you open your lunchbox, and suddenly there's a can next to your sandwiches, and the mystery man Trav's been back again.
Yeah, what should we? Trav the Shad, Trav the Shadow, I don't know. We'll think of a name for you, Trav, or as my good wife says, Travy. Calls him Travy.
Oh,
So,
savvy Trav.
Oh, look at that! Compared to yours, how cloudy is that?
Cloudy, yeah.
Isn't it? So if you listen,
You didn't give Jackie's pint glass back then.
No, the Duckworth. It's I can't. It's something special. Just reminds me of him. Talk about he wasn't a drayman, but he was down in the cellars, wasn't he, old Jack?
He was cellarman.
Mm. That's nice. That's fresh and very hoppy, as I say. There's 3 or 4 different hops in that. So
what sort of percentage are you looking at on yours? My one is a 4.9, so just shy of 5.
4.9. Oh, okay. Just a little bit under. Mine 7%. So a little bit higher than yours. So a little bit stronger, I guess. Yeah, very nice. It does actually. The cream is oat cream, but it does kind of have a creamy texture to it. It's not as I guess not as fizzy or as gassy as yours. So has some fizz to it.
It's got some fizz to it. Like it's almost like a lager.
Wow.
If you gave that and said, "Oh, it was a lager," you think, "Oh, it was just a bit of a floral smelling lager." Look at it.
Yeah, well, looking at that, and when you poured it, I could see how clear it looked pouring out of the can.
Yeah.
It's
I got it. We got a shop over here which is German. Big chain over here. I don't think you have them in the US of A, but it's called Lidl, and it's in every town, on every corner. It's taken over the world over here, and
the Netherlands. I was talking to Yorick about Lidl.
Oh yeah. And there's 2 Lidls in Germany. No, there isn't. That's Audi. Oh, I don't know. But two Audis it is. There's 2 different Audi companies. They're brothers, split up, and they both called their company Audi. But when talking about Audi, you're talking about Lidl.
He's not talking about the car.
This here can, they have actually got their name stamped on the back of this can. It's a craft brew that they've bought from the company exclusively, and they've been supplying them in their shops, very reasonable, like a quid 50 a can, which is nothing. Like we was talking about it the other day, and I saw a can like that was £8.95. Obviously you do pay for different qualities, so don't get me wrong, but this is a nice, Lidl do different beers and things like that, and largely they're all right.
Yeah.
This is from now. Let me try this on you.
I'm curious.
Mannheim, Germany, from the IPA Brewery, which is a very famous brewery, which is traditional German brewery. Eichbraum means oak tree, and it was
Okay.
set up in 1679.
What?
Yeah. Now Mannheim is sort of Midwest Germany, below Frankfurt, and it's where the Rhine and the Neckar rivers meet. A lot of history in the town. The brewery's been going forever, but it always keeps up with what's modern. And
Right.
it's always pushing and everything like that. They do guided tours. They've got a tavern. But this was an interesting thing that I thought. The brewery, the beer that they knock out, and they've got some very famous beers. They've got 16 of their own, but they currently brew over 104 different brews, of which this little variety is 6 of them. Has the nickname in the town and parts of Germany as corpse water.
What? Where does that come
They
from?
say, you having a beer? Yeah, what you having? Oh, an Eichmann. Sorry, not Eichmann, Eichbrum. Yeah, oh, you're having a pint of corpse water. I thought, well, that's not a good advert, but
No.
the brewery is right next to a graveyard, and the brew water they use is pumped directly from the earth. Hence, corpse
Okay.
water.
I like that.
Yeah, but it's obviously they know that it's not infected or anything because there's obviously tests and things, and there's a big clay in the area and stuff like that. But I thought that was pretty cool.
It's kind of it reminds me of my old uncle. He always used to say, "Would get if I had a Foster's, oh, you're drinking that Australian piss water." He always you know, there's no piss in it.
No, well, we don't know that.
Oh, I don't know. They talk about yeah, they
So I
talk
should
about.
have said to you, "Hello, wie geht's es dir?"
Oof, I think you got the dialect there as well.
I mean, how are you doing?
Okay. I'm
Ja,
just.
danke schön.
Oh,
And
bitte schön.
here we go. Let's do this. Let's have a cheers.
Yeah.
It isn't quite cheers, but it's last ancien Bier trinken.
Okay, let's cheers our glasses.
And that means let's have a beer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is cheers in German? Just for our.
Don't know. I didn't look up cheers. I looked up let's have a beer.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious. Some Dray barrel will probably pipe in with
I know a
letter.
little, and I know like Entschuldigung, mein Englischschreiber ist kaputt, which means excuse me, my pen doesn't work.
Kaput. My one was like, "Was ist Ihr Familienname?" I was like, it flows better, doesn't it, for us Brits, the German?
Well, there's a lot of Germans in Texas, though, isn't there?
Oh, it's massive.
Looking at that.
And that's why can go off subject. Is why you get in Mexican music, it sounds like German polka music because it's kind of that German influence on Mexican music. So but here, especially in San Antonio, it's all German or Mexican pretty much. So it's interesting, and they always have like Fest, which is like an Oktoberfest type of thing. So it's very, very big. You know, but
with the old sausages.
Fest, yeah. But I'm kind of curious. Did you say 1649?
1679.
79, my mistake. That's probably the oldest brewery that's kind of come into play in our podcasts and such, right? I don't think we've done an earlier brewery than that.
No, I don't think there's a couple that I know of that are older, but I don't think I've reviewed them on this yet. So I'll do that later on. And just in case, Philip, I'm not going to date when I'm going to do that.
He's a stickler. He's a stickler.
It won't be coming next podcast, but some point in the future.
Oh, he's going to join us. Oh no, that's a good point. Yeah. Just leave it a bit vague. Leave it
Yeah,
vague.
I'm just saying it will happen in the future. I'm not going to give a date because you know
Nah,
we don't
nah.
know Philip's mental state.
Could be
So,
slightly hinged.
so what? Give us a little bit of gumph on yours then.
Yeah, so I'm not going to talk about Untitled Art because I've talked about them in a previous one, and as you know,
You've done
they
loads of them now, and you? They're a bit like I keep nipping back to Brewdog because they're so popular. But yeah, it
they
must be.
do. It's
Yeah,
kind of the same way it seems to be, and they were up in Wisconsin, but they seem to be doing it. So many. Every beer I've had of theirs has been a collaboration. I've not had one of their own, so maybe I need to look into that next and
they
see if I
like
can
a tag.
find.
They like to tag team.
Tag team, very much so. They've tag team with Finback this time. That could be a team in itself, shouldn't it? Finback, two wrestlers. So they're based out of Queens, New York City, and I've not done a New York City one. I know you have, right? At some
Yeah,
point.
Evil Twin. Yeah,
That's
Evil
right.
Twin. Have got
Evil.
yeah of
Yeah.
the NYC.
Well, I kind of like these guys Untitled Art because they really do mix it up. Like they did that one with the Nottingham Brewery previously. So it's what Raptor brewing. So let me just kind of tell you a little bit about them. It's only a small brewery. They're not big, not like your one. So their aim is to make great beer, following our passion for flavor, complexity, and quality in small batches. So it's little small artisan beers, if you will. But it's like a lot of these breweries, to drink and enjoy with friends in the backyard, at the beach, or at the bar. So similar kind of vibe to most, right? They all have.
I'm looking forward to a beer that says this is to enjoy in the cellar, in the loft, up a tree.
Down a hole.
Something a bit more random.
I
Yeah, look,
know.
after a while, and it's not having to go at any brewery because everyone's heart's in the right place, but they do sound a bit more samey after a while, don't they?
They do, and you got to think as well, especially for our point of view as draymen, down a cellar would be perfect. I'm waiting for, right? I'm waiting
I
for one.
mentioned it before, but the whispers in the cellar, that's where the real business goes down.
It does, and I think it get a lot of the brewers get their ideas from these. Oh, you may want to do this with this, What about this for a pairing? I
Yeah,
think, I
that's where the
think,
real tasters are. You have your sommeliers for wine and your experts in things like that, but the guys that know what's going on is the draymen and the cellarmen of this world. They're the
definitely,
ones that deliver the beer. They're the
yeah,
ones that draw the beer through the pipes. They know how it should taste, and they know if it's slightly off or whatever. But yeah,
exactly. Your dray men delivering, and your jacks, your cellarmen kind of hooking up the barrels. That's where the chick
yeah,
comes
I done
from.
a bit of cellar work when I was in the pub. There was a few days a week that I would do in the cellar, like earlier on in the day. But the cellar I worked in was above the pub. It was on the third floor. It was fucking bizarre, but we had good fun because a lot of the draymen, if you like, that would deliver the beers on the lorries, they were a miserable bunch of fuckers, and they had to put everything in a lift and send it up to us. They had to buzz it. They put it in a lift. They weren't allowed in the pub. There was just a separate thing for them, and buzz it. And then as soon as anyone, I'm like this in any job, as soon as anyone tells you to hurry up or start slinging stuff about, then I'll go into a bit of a slow mo just to piss them off even further. And there was this one particular guy, and he wasn't a nice character, and he'd said a few things to a couple of the bar staff and that when they were down at the back and everything, and we knew he was not a nice character at all. So we decided next time he delivered, we were going to get him. So then
Gonna get
he,
him.
yeah, not rough him up or nothing, but
Well,
a little less. And then we kept messing about at the lift and winding him up, so he was getting himself into a bit of a anger, a bit of a stupor, and and
Get a bit of
then
own back on him.
we'd get all the new beers out, all the barrels and that, wind them out, and then we'd send all the empties down to him, you see, any of the stray one, and he'd say, "Was there any more?" And he'd shout out the window, "Oh, 2 more," and then we just wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
Get wound up, and he was getting, and then we would throw stuff at him out the window, and it was all high japes, all good fun.
All in jest.
We were early 20s, he was about 50, so
Yeah.
I'll probably be exactly like he was.
Probably.
And I'm his age, but it was good fun.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, one of these days, maybe I'd love to do it. Is do a stint down the cellar at some point as a cellarman, perhaps.
Oh, you got to change them gases over. That's the fun. You don't want a spurter, let me tell you that. Oh, you don't want one of these. Anyway, I'm going to get back to this beer because there's a little bit of interesting gumph about this. Now, like I've said, this is steam brew.
Yeah.
Now, on the back, it's got one of those little QR code things that you can see on your phone.
Yeah, you can take photos, can't you?
And then it sends you to the website. Well, this sends you to its own website. It isn't to do with Eichbrum Brewery, which is, like I've said, it's a famous brewery, well established. It sends you to the Steam Brew website, which is just this weird little place where there's 6 of these beers. Now, they're like characters from Cluedo or something, but basically what they're sort of packaging this as is that prohibition has happened in a post-apocalyptic world. And like steampunks that we get and all that's very popular. These steampunks are brewing beer in a prohibition era. And there's 6 characters. So this one, as I said, is the session IPA. This character is called the Sister. So then let me run you through the other ones. You have the Snakes, which is an IPA Radler. You have the Masters, which is an Imperial Stout.
Oh.
You have the Strangers, which is a German red beer. The Spark, which is an IPA. And you have the Farmers, which is a wheat pale ale. Now, they've all got, the website's great. It's in German when you first go on it, but then it lets you select all of the European countries, and it will, like I press GB for Great Britain, and it come up, the whole website come up in English then. But yeah, all the artwork is this quite cool steampunky artwork with all clocks and gears.
I love that.
Steam like you'd expect, but the other ones are great. The characters are great. And if you go on their website, it gives you a little story about each character, and then it gives you the breakdown of the beer. But then it does this weird thing that I was looking at on my phone. It says, move your phone gently. And you move it, and all these pictures slightly move.
Really? Like there's
a light. It's all drawings, and then there's like a light in the background of one of them, and you move your phone, and then the light comes on. There's quite a cool little sort of way to package beer. So I have had this one before a long while back, but we grabbed it again the other day, and I thought, well, that's a different something to talk about. Especially with the little gimmick behind the website and that. And like I said, like Cluedo characters. So I will try and I'd like to try this stout. I think the Imperial Stout, if I can get my hand on the Masters.
Well, maybe down at Lidl's if
yeah. I mean, I didn't get this one. My wife got it for me. She always picks up a 2 or 3 whenever she goes shopping, something that is a little bit different. Try to, and she picked one up, but I haven't been in there myself. So if I do, then I will try and get. I mean, a Radler's not really for me, but I will try to get the Farmers and the Masters, which is the Imperial Stout. So
that's just a genius idea.
All you got to do is type in Steam Brew, Steam Brew, and or hyphen, and it comes through to this weird little website. So it's cool. It's not very big, but it's really well done.
I'm gonna have a look at that myself as a bit of an artist, and I love a bit of
Yeah.
steampunk and steam engines and stuff like that. So, but what a great concept! What a great idea to do something like
Yeah,
that
it's
for
like that,
characters.
that craft beer is massive, and they've thought, well, we can do a load of craft beers, but we're going to make it slightly different.
Yeah,
Yeah, they've invented these little characters with a little. I'm not sure if they can. It wasn't like it was an ongoing story that I joined when I went on there, but you never know. Maybe they will bring characters further on in the future, or
yeah.
story behind it, or something like that. So,
Make a bit of
but
a comic of it.
like Brewery are the ones that are brewing it for Lidl at the moment.
That's great. I always remember going to Lidl's and it was just normal, just shitty, if you will, just stubby bucket beers and nothing
Yeah,
special. But I'm,
you can still get those shitty beers, but yeah, they do have. It was recent years they started to have stuff that you'd heard of,
yeah,
because a lot of times they would have things like you like Strongbow cider, and they'd have something very similar to that.
yeah, yeah,
And you'd have like Carlin, which you like. Oh, I like Carlin, but they'd have one that looked like a Carlin can, but when you got to it, it was like a.
yeah.
But no, they have got better beers, and a lot of their wines are very popular with people.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, people do like to get their wines, and it's good, it's bringing
Good
stuff
value,
in
that's why
popular.
it's good value.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say much more about my brewery other than that they were established in 2011, so they're very more recent than yours,
Yeah.
obviously.
Right.
They're based in New York City. Like it said, it's a little small place and they are open. They've like anywhere, they've cancelled all their little events and stuff like that. So there's not much going on. But as you listed a couple of beers of yours, I'll just give you a couple of theirs if you don't mind.
Please, I
Um,
like. I told you that as well.
well, yes, so not many, but like I said, they just do small batches, nothing major. They do one called I Feel the Universe, and it's a sour. So it's just a fruited sour. So that sounds nice. I do like sours.
Hmm.
So I'll see if I can find that at some point. I always do a search on my phone and try and find beers within 100 miles of me. It's like Brewdog. I can never find their beers. Uh,
No, I mean the thing is, Texas is so vast, isn't it? It's just
I need to
insane when you talk about mileage and things. It's mad.
exactly. I need to maybe up it to 200 miles or something. But they also do one called Spill the Tea, which is a lager and an IPL, which is an Indian Pale Lager. Sounds fascinating.
Yeah, I've come across that before. Do you remember? Because
Oh,
I think it's the same as the cricket, the Indian Premier League, which is the big cricket event they have over there. Yeah,
oh yeah.
IPL. There's something. It's reminding me of that. That yeah, it's not very. You don't see it very often. That.
No, I've seen it a couple of times, I think, in passing, but not. So it may be one to try at some point. But it does have green tea, so it's brewed with green tea and watermelon, interestingly enough. So, and then they do stout, as most of these breweries do. They do specialize on IPAs. It's mostly IPAs, but
Yeah.
they have one stout, and it's called Between the Dead, and it's kind of cool. The writing's like The Walking Dead on their can.
What's that?
Yeah, and it's a imperial double stout at 9.5%. So
Oh,
imperial.
get a
It's
bit zombied on that. I tell you what, they in the US because I have a look on what the Dre barrels suggest, and if you come through and that, but I
yeah.
can't get them over here. Some of them, but there was one I sent you the other day that looked fantastic. Just the name, an imperial stout, Monolith.
Oh, I did see. Yes, yes. And as soon as you send it, I try and search. And I'm
Yeah,
like, nah, I can't. But maybe, that's the way to go. Like everything, and it could be a drag in a way, but like shipping and just getting delivered to your door. Like all these breweries and this brewery as well, Finback, they actually you can order stuff and get it delivered. But
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how I
Some
feel
of the
about
names they've come out with these beers is the craft brews and the sours and that. They're just genius. I love them.
Brilliant, isn't it? It's brilliant. Yeah, like yours. I just love yours today with the characters. I thought that's just genius.
They're a bit
You
different,
know?
yeah.
But yeah, it's creative. But we probably didn't get into that time, right? Unless you wanted to say any more about yours.
No, I've just it's a nice little beer. Unless you want to mark it, I don't know what you want to do.
Yeah, we normally mark at the end, but we could do it
Okay,
before the
no. We'll mark it at the end. Yeah, let's keep the structure. Or Philip be DM.
Philip. Philip will be in touch, and those Hughes will be in touch, and
You owe
Mr.
him a debt or something. You know, he's like,
Mr. A will be in touch. So I'm like, nah, let's not go down that road.
yeah, you're right. Actually, I like the
So
way you remember that guy from Ireland. I couldn't even remember his name, but yeah,
yeah, it's
Gee,
etched in my fucking mind.
yeah. I suppose so. He did direct it at you, didn't he?
I know. I think I got some PTSD going on after that, but there
And
we
then
go.
his sister in it, or his wife, one of the two.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah. Well, I know it was highly. Well, not okay. They're
Listen,
grey
I know
barrels.
it offended you. Let's fuck that bloke.
Yeah, let's just get on with.
Oh, you, it's Dregs of the Week.
Yeah. I probably want to. I wouldn't mind if you start this week because
Yes, well,
you
I'm
got
in
more on.
with, as I said at the start, at the very top of the show. I don't know why I'm folding this piece of paper up because I've only got 2 words written down. But so I've got my flag up saying this bar is open. Obviously, I said that it marks the opening of the pubs and the beer gardens around here. Now, my dreg of the week actually is linked to that with the fact that I've got a local pub up here, which I've mentioned before, was a bit touch and go whether it would reopen. Now they've done a lot of work in there. It's been refurbished again. They've got outside decking. They've done it all up lovely. And a few of the other pubs have done the same. And then on Monday, when they said, like the government said that beer gardens could open, it was a decent day.
Yeah.
A few pubs around here haven't opened. Not because they're not opening, they just haven't opened yet. And I just think you've had all this time off, right? With all social media in that, open on the fucking day that the rest of the pubs are opening, just to get your trade going.
Yeah.
And you could even bullshit the public by getting some of your friends down, half a dozen of your friends, couple of balloons either side of the door. We're open. Stick it on social media. Come to our garden. Have a beer in the sunshine.
Yeah.
Right? You could fake the people in the pub or the people outside the pub, and people would see that on their Instagram, their Facebook, local places, or even in passing, think, "Oh, what's going on? Oh, pub's open again." And they're more likely to go. I think more people are likely to go to a pub this week. I think they're missing a trick. And I just thought to myself, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Even if you don't open the whole week, just open on that day and make a big fucking fuss, big fanfare. Get your trade rolling again. I mean,
perfect advertising, right?
Yeah, my wife walked up there. I was still at work, and she said, "Right, I'm going to walk up there with the kids. It says it's open at 3:30. I'll walk up there with the kids, and if it's open, we'll ring you and we'll meet you there to have a pint outside, right?"
Yeah.
Went up just before about 3:00. It said opening at 3:30. She then went to the local park for the kids, had a little run around, a little play on the swings and stuff. Come back to the pub about 20 to 4, shut, not a person in there. And then we've seen today it's not opening till, I don't know, a couple more days, maybe this weekend, I think. And I just think you've missed the trick. The biggest thing, you could just say, "We're open," and shout it, and people would think the pub's open again. I might go, especially since we've had decent-ish weather.
Yeah, and it'll probably be their biggest. You got to think about this. That would be their biggest turnover, their biggest profit of the year would be that day. I mean, it's been all over the papers, for fuck's sake,
Yeah. Well, like I said to you, we've been out to the dunes today with the kids. My day off, and they're on Easter holidays, and we went surfing on the not in the sea, but going down the dunes and that on the boards and things.
Oh, sand surfing.
On the way back, we stopped, place Heaton Court.
Yeah.
And they've got a massive beer garden. They've got about 30 plus tables and a load of place for the kids to run around, and the view and the atmosphere from there is great. Now, don't get me wrong, it is advertised. If you want to go to the bigger pubs, especially if they're doing food, you've got to book a table. So we went in there on the off chance on the way back, and when we pulled up, the top tables were all full up, and the bottom tables, there was about 10, 12 tables down the bottom. There was a couple of people on one of the tables, and immediately drew my eye because they've got these lovely, huge Guinness umbrellas. They look real smart, all brand new, all lovely. So there was like 10 or 11 tables, big tables, empty. So the kids in the car, my wife ran up and asked the bloke on the door, because it's all outside, as we said, could we just come in for half hour to have a drink? And he said they couldn't fit us in. And he said, oh, what about the tables down the bottom? Oh, well, not at the moment, he said. And I just thought, we're going to be there for not long.
Yeah.
But we're going to be there, have a drink, because we was driving, so we could only have one. Have a drink, enjoy ourselves, enjoy the company. There was a few people up there, and go back and tell everyone, oh, we had a great time down Heaton Court, and probably go back. And I just thought, you fucking bellends.
Lost revenue there.
Absolute twats.
Yeah.
They turned us away. What? They were 20 quid they would have got out of us, but we would have enjoyed ourselves and gone back again.
Well, exactly. And you would have remembered it as well.
Local place up the road, the Cedars, where I stuck that picture up from.
Mm.
I mean, we do know them up there, but they was accommodating. Just said, yeah, there's a table up there, quickly grab it. And it was great.
Yeah, like you say, I think they missed a trick as well over there, just not doing that. Especially in an open place like that where there's less risk. You got to think about that.
Oh, man,
not enclosed.
Huge, great garden they got. Huge. Yeah. And they've done a lovely job. They've got all new tables, everything. Maybe they just thought we were jippos or something.
Well, maybe. If you were in your flannel shirt or something and wild hair, you had an off hair day, perhaps.
Maybe it's the hops that make it curl. Look at that.
You need some of those New Zealand hops. How curly would it get then?
You've seen sheep with less curly hair than that. Look at it.
I know.
You can't even call that a style. It's just...
you dye that white. Oh, look out.
If it was white, it would look all right, because I could get away with the Einstein look, couldn't I? But
you could, or you could have it just bobbing up above you like a certain gentleman we know, and it'll just bounce in the wind.
Yeah, you're right, actually. Well, that's why I've done it. That's why. Maybe I'll, go white overnight and it'll all be good.
Run on a beach in New Zealand after those hops, and somebody will recognise you. Oh, look who it is! It's the governor down there, just running along a beach. Oh, beautiful! I can picture it now. Hey, my drag is very short. I'll keep it sweet.
Oh,
it's just a little thing that bugs me, and I'm kind of going down your road. It's about driving, but driving specifically in America. Roundabout.
Number one, they drive on the wrong side.
Number one. There's my drag. See ya. I'll get me coat. No, it's roundabouts and stop signs. Here they don't utilize roundabouts like we do in Britain. And there's like a 4-way stop sign. So when it gets busy, it's chaos. And there's a lot of tooting and beeping. And it just doesn't flow. And if you meet at this 4-way stop sign at the same time, I believe it's supposed to be clockwise is what you're supposed to allow, but it's just chaos. And you meet there, who's going? It's just pandemonium, basically. There are a couple of roundabouts in San Antonio, but good old Texans or good old Americans don't quite understand them. So, so it's like, what do we do here? So there's probably, I know of two in San Antonio. There's one in New Braunfels, a German town outside. But it's like, roundabouts just flow. And so this one roundabout I know near us, it's a roundabout, but with stop signs. So everybody just stops anyway.
There's a place in Britain. I've been to one where there's been a roundabout and 6 roundabouts on it. like 6 mini roundabouts, and then the main roundabout. There's one in Britain that's about 10. So there's where all these roads converge, and then there's 10 mini roundabouts to get on the main roundabout. It's fucking insanity. Whoever done it must have been high, because it just doesn't make sense. But imagine like some of the guys from, like you've just said, go in there. It would.
Well, it's like coming into Barnstable. Is like loads of roundabouts as you drive in, to be honest, and a few mini roundabouts, right? It's like every time. And I remember Leicester being the same way. I spent a lot of time in Leicester. I go over there quite a bit, and it's the same way.
Cardiff's got a few down the bay, isn't it?
It is, and it's just like, but it always, I don't know, at least you can keep, I know there's sometimes crazy roundabouts that are so big, it's hard to know what lane to be in, but I think it just keeps traffic flowing smoother.
Yeah.
That's my drag. I think there needs to be more here.
So your drag is roundabout knowledge in America that more people need to
Roundabout knowledge, and also
It's funny
roundabout.
that it is so funny that you've gone on about roundabouts, because today, as I drove, I had to pop in. It was my day off, but this afternoon I had to pop in and drop something off for work. And I was on my own, and on the way back, I come up Sticklepath Hill, and there's a little roundabout at the top.
I remember that.
And in England, you give way to the right.
Yeah.
And I come up the top, and there was loads of cars about, and the car was going forward, and I thought, oh, I'll be all right, I'll get in front of that. And I did. I was absolutely fine. But then this guy decided to pull out the garage as I was already on the roundabout and blow his horn and wave his arms at me, even though I was already there. Unfortunately for him, he then joined the roundabout and exited the same way that I did. And I wasn't like incensed like I would have been maybe 10 years ago, but I just almost stopped the car. I went down to about 5 miles an hour and just stared intently into my mirror, and he suddenly changed tact and just held. He wouldn't go behind me. He was about 2 car lengths back, and I kept driving for the rest of that way, about half a mile, about 20 miles an hour. And not once did he dare get behind me. I think I completely rattled him.
The beauty of the mirror.
He had a lovely vest top on and a load of tattoos down either arm, and he was.
Ooh.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't our age. He was about 10 years older than us. But he really give me some like this, and I just glared at him, and then it was. I found it highly amusing.
It sounds like somebody I knew, actually. He was always in a vest, and he lived up Forches, and he worked with us a while. I don't know, maybe it was him, but I think he had loads of tattoos as well.
Oh.
Don't know, it's a small town. Hey, anyway, that's my drag.
What fucking weirdos.
I know. That's crazy. What's your rating anyway? I guess we should round this off.
My rating on this one is that as an IPA, it's not the strongest. Value for money, it's great. And the story behind it and everything is fantastic. Like we said, it's, as Harry Redknapp would say, it's fantastic, it's great, it's lovely. It's smashing, Sandra. But it's, it's okay. Like I said, we've had a lot of IPAs, and I've got into them a bit more since talking with you over the last year and that. And it's not the top one.
Right.
I've had. So I would drink it again because it's good value, but I'm going for a 6.5 as a rating.
Okay. That's okay. That's interesting. Being drinking an IPA like you, this is good. It's not the best IPA I've had. I did Yellow Rose the other day, which is one of my top IPAs. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. So I will probably I would probably rate this. There's nothing that jumps out at you, you know. There's nothing special stand out to distinctively compare it to other ones. So I think it's probably a little nicer than you can tell it's fresh. It's very fresh. And there's lots of hops going in there. I can't pull out the individual hops. You know, with DrayMen, we're not experts
Give
on
me
that.
a fucking rating.
All right, calm it. I will give you a 7.
7.
So,
For
yeah,
this refreshing route, I'm going for a stout next week.
you know, can I join you if I may?
Yeah, let's have a little seasonal spring stout.
Let's get back. Yeah, let's get back to that for a bit.
I've got a couple in. What's the one I got in the fridge called? Some dark name, but it's we need it. Need a stout.
As my friend James always says, you should zig and zag, and so like go stout and then go to an IPA and maybe a sour and stout, and he likes to zig and zag it a bit. So,
No, you do. That's what you always go on about. This zig and zag.
well,
Do
that
you
way
remember
came.
the Big Breakfast?
Huh?
Zig and zag from the Big Breakfast. Yeah, is that what you're talking
Yeah, I don't think they got
about?
it.
Who's James?
James is another one of our brew mates that is into the beers. James.
Yeah,
Um.
I got James over this side of the pond that
Oh
enjoys
yeah.
reviews. Well,
Yeah,
you know.
good old James. Yeah. Good guy from down your neck of the woods. I guess we should wrap this up there, Governor.
Yeah, enjoyable little episode. Something a bit different this week. And we'll see what next week brings.
Definitely. You never know with us lot.
And if there's any comments, like young, well, I don't know how old he was actually. Maybe he's Philip Man Mountain Evans. If there's anyone that wants a bit of housekeeping by us, mopped up and put away, or any queries they have, or anything that we've got wrong, please let us know, because we can learn from it.
Absolutely. We try and hone this in and take all comments on board.
And if I had a spare minute, I'd look into maybe Philip and a few of the others and see if ever they've made an error when they're doing something.
We watch it. The DrayMen always watch as well. You may watch us, but
you get the patrol on them. Remember the patrol?
Oh yes,
They're always watching the patrol.
Never ending. Those eyes, you know. So we will bid you a good week, and we will see you with a couple of mini ones coming up. I think it's my turn next, and
little mini one, yeah.
Yeah, ta-ra.
Bye everyone. Have a lovely week.